Uh, it'd be good.
All right,
So
great.
go for it. Thank you, Ashish. Everybody, Ashish. Everybody, go for it.
Hi. Yeah, hi. Thanks, Mike. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody, depending on your location. I'm Ashish Patel, CEO and founder of Pilera. Pilera started, just to give you background a little bit on Pilera, we started about 15 years ago. And before that, I used to work at Fidelity Investments as a senior project manager and architect. I've been involved with CAI for many, many years, CAI New Hampshire chapter. I was also one of the members of foundation of CAI Research, where we worked on the security task force. And I also have a few other companies related to property management space. We have a special company that just handles RFP process and helping clients manage CapEx projects. That's just my background. But today I figured I want to talk a little bit about Pilera. My plan is to spend about 15-20 minutes in a slides, give you an overview of Pilera, how it works, and then go into demo, maybe about half hour or so, 40 minutes. I'll try to highlight the main things without going into too many details, but you can always reach out to us, sales@pilera.com, or on our website to get more information, deeper deeper demo of our product. So this is today's agenda. As I mentioned, Pilera started about 15 years ago. We are extremely well known in the HOA space for our communication because we started with communication in mind that long ago. We were the first company to offer phone calls capability integrated with an accounting partner. We're the first ones to offer texting, period. I think we've been doing texting for something like 10 years now. We do language translation for all the outbound communication. We also have very strong operations and client support platform that I'll review with you as part of this demo. We are very well known for customer service. We get really a lot of good kudos on Capterra or GetApp. You can check out reviews of our site and how people like working with us. And we've been integrated with VMS for something like 10 years, Mike, would you say? I don't know if you're still here, but
Probably. Yeah, I'm here. Probably. Yeah. It's
yeah.
been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also have support two-way integration. So when the resident makes a change for their contact information, we can dump it back into VMS for you as well. We've been a CI business partner for actually since the beginning. So this slide should actually say 15 years. And one of the things I try to highlight is we are still bootstrapped. So what that means is we are not backed by venture capital companies. We are not looking to, just do something to raise our costs or just for the bottom dollar. What we are more focused on is long-term relationships with our clients. Many of our clients have been using our products for 10 plus years. They love using us. That's why we get really great reviews on the Capterra sites about how much they like working with us. As part of my presentation, we actually have one of our clients on the joining us as well. They agreed. Thank you, Brad, kindly for doing that. Teresa, and they've been using T-Square. It's been our long-term client. And I know VMS. I mean, I know Mike, you and Frank, you guys know T-Square. They love using Pilera, and they primarily use this for communication. But what I was planning to do is, Brad, if you don't mind, but just taking a few minutes and talking to the rest of the group about how you guys use Pilera and why do you like working with Pilera, if you don't mind.
Sure, that would be great.
Brad, so go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's been great working with Pilera. It integrates seamlessly with VMS. That's one of the things that has impressed T-Square very, very much. Do you have any specific questions for me, Ashish?
No, that's okay, Brad. Maybe I was thinking maybe in general, you can talk about how do you guys use T? I mean, one of the key things that I'm trying to help people understand is why would they need Pilera on top of VMS? Like, for example, like how do we complement VMS basically? Because I know people love using VMS for the accounting portions of stuff, but maybe you can highlight, how does T-Square use Pilera for your purposes?
Yeah, we use it for accounting purposes and also communication purposes. And it's also our main portal between us and the homeowners and our customers. As I mentioned, it works seamlessly with VMS. Any changes we make in VMS are then synced that night with Pilera. If I need it synced sooner than that, I can do it myself. I can integrate it myself. It only takes a minute. Homeowners can log in and update on their end through Pilera, and it'll sync with VMS. And they can log in and see their account balances and recent activity on their accounts, which saves calls to our customer service.
Great, thank you. Yeah, actually, I was going to touch upon that as far as like how has Pilera improved your operations? So basically, it's more of the customer service side of things, would you say?
Yes, definitely. Pilera's been a huge benefit to our operations. It's provided us one place to store all the association's governing documents, financial reports, meeting minutes, insurance documents, reserve studies, and budgets. Everything that we need to make public. The homeowners have access to these documents 24/7, resulting in less calls to supply these type of items. This goes a long way towards the transparency between the board, the association, and even from T-Square's perspective. Everything's out there and available 24/7. It also allows homeowners to supply these documents as part of their resale process. A lot of those documents are required during the resale process, and if it normally costs a couple $100 out of the homeowner's pockets, where now it's available for free on Pilera. We use the work order feature. It allows homeowners to notify me of community concerns and for me to update as the job progresses. And one of the main ways we use Pilera is the email blast feature, which allows me to communicate with the entire community with one email. It's nice to be able to write the initial notice of upcoming events and then schedule future notices to be sent as reminders. So if we're going to fire alarm testing, I can give them the initial notice. I can then set an email to be sent out a week beforehand and another one to be sent out the day beforehand. And I can do that all at once, and just takes it off my plate, basically. Also, one of the features of Pilera that we really like is when these emails are sent, it allows us to somewhat track that email. We can tell if that homeowner has clicked on the email and if they've opened it. So a lot of times people will say, I didn't get the email. Well, it was delivered. Check your junk folder, or it was clicked on, or even if it was opened. And then I send annual meeting documents through Pilera, as well as budget documents. We're required to send it by statute. We're required to send it by mail, but that can take up to 2 weeks for them to receive it. So it's nice to be able to send everything out through Pilera in an email format, and the customer has it in hand immediately.
Thank you, Brad. Would you just say a little bit about our customer service, if you have dealt with them, or what your experience has been?
Yeah, sure. Quite frankly, I've only needed to contact the customer service department once in the 4 years that I've worked for T-Square. They were quick to respond. They updated me as they researched the issue throughout the day, and it was resolved by the end of the day, and it ended up being on me anyway. It was something that I had inadvertently done. So okay. I checked with some other people in our office, and quite frankly, we haven't needed to speak with customer service. But I will say we've been with Pilera for 8 years now, and Pilera does regular check-ins with us regarding our experience and also to seek our input over potential updates. So that's been very appreciated.
Thank you, Brad. And just final question, Brad, what's your overall opinion of Pilera, and would you recommend it?
Oh, I'd highly recommend Pilera. I couldn't imagine working without it.
That's awesome. Thank you. I mean, as you know, as you can tell, Brad and I actually, this is the first time I'm talking to Brad, just for the rest of the group. So thank you, Brad. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to help other VMS users, get a little bit perspective from the management side, from our client side. So we really appreciate you. Thank you. And we really appreciate having T-Square as a client or a long-term client for us.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Like I said, we love Pilera.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I'll just move on to Pilera and what exactly we do that Brad was talking about and how do we complement VMS system. As Brad mentioned, and I also checked with my support staff and about how VMS clients primarily use Pilera. One of the biggest things, and even Frank can vouch for this, where they talk about communication. Like I mentioned, we have like the standard in the HOA space when it comes to communication. We have email capabilities. We do two-way email now. In the past, Pilera was all about mass outbound communication, but now we actually track inbound communication. So what that means is, for example, you send a message to 100 people and 10 of those people responds back. You're going to see it tied to that residence record. You're going to see it tied to that announcement for that community. So when the next person that takes over the management of that community, or somebody's on vacation, somebody's covering for them, they can see exactly what was going on. And where this comes in handy is for litigation. If a management company gets sued by the owner or whatever, they can see exactly everything that was communicated with that owner in one place. And I know VMS uses SendGrid for their outbound communication for some of the clients. But what we do is we actually bring that experience closer to the managers. When you're using SendGrid, you really need almost like an expert, like an IT person who can log into SendGrid, who needs to research and look up, while we make that type of data available to all the managers in very easy to use format. One of the key things we introduced within the last 12 months is unit level distribution list, and our distribution lists are dynamic. Meaning, if you got a large community, you can say west side of the community, east side of the community, or if you got a high-rise buildings, you can set up a silos of units, and our distribution lists will automatically be updated based on what's going on with your VMS records. So when somebody leaves the association, I'm going to turn my fan off in case you guys can't hear me well. So when somebody leaves the association or a new owner is added to the unit, by the way, Frank and Sumita, can you guys hear me okay? Is my microphone working all right?
You're fine.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
Perfect.
So when somebody leaves the unit, we automatically update our distribution list based on what you're doing on a VMS. And we synchronize with VMS on a nightly basis. So your distribution list is always up to date. Your community list is always up to date. And that comes in really handy for hurricane types of situations. We had actually 2 associations where there was active shooting going on, and they were utilizing our system throughout that entire ordeal. And they gave us a great testimonials afterwards about how useful Pilera was for them. We get a lot of usage, during the fire stuff in California or hurricanes in Florida, and people just reach out how easy we make it for you to communicate with all the residents. You can set up distribution groups, you can set up committees if you want to set up only, and once again, it's dynamically updated all ongoing. We support over 100 different languages. So for text and emails, we haven't run into one language that a client has asked for that we don't support. And we are planning to actually increase our languages for up to 133 languages. So that just makes it very easy and convenient for you to communicate with the residents in their preferred language. For phone calls, we can support English and Spanish. As I mentioned, when a resident responds to your announcements, we actually log and track that. That's not only true for our resident communication. When you communicate with board members, when you communicate with the vendors for our particular work order, we will automatically track all those responses in one place for you. So it's a great tracking system. Emergency blast, like I mentioned, you can send a message to your entire portfolio. And our delivery is instantaneous. People, that's another thing people really like about it, because it's immediate communication. Then we show you the analytics. That's our communication. On the operations side, we can help clients with work order management, vendor tracking. We introduced a new product recently. I actually started a whole new company on this, because not only for the HOA space, but for RFP process management in general, for government contracts, but that's outside of the HOA, but that's why we have a separate company that just does RFPs. We do email replies for any kind of communication you're doing with your vendors. We track violations, ACR forms, tasks. I do need to reach out to T-Square and make sure Brad is aware. We recently also added ability to physical letters. So now we can notify residents about violations or announcements, the annual announcements via physical letters with a few clicks, and it'll automatically print them and mail them out for you through our partnership with OSG, which is, I guess, now called Eversource, I believe. Same thing as Optimal Outsource, in case you're familiar with them. And there was another company they bought. But anyway, so we do letters, task management for our operation types of product. So we offer 4 products. And the way we do this is because a lot of times come to us and they say, hey, we're happy with VMS work orders. So we don't need to do anything with operations, or, that's the primary thing that they do. So in the past, we used to be all in one, where you got everything. So what we've done is we have split up our products. So you can pick and choose. If you just want better communication that works with VMS, we can help you with that. If you want better work order management system with all of the automated reply tracking and vendor tracking and such, you can use our operations or product only. We also offer client support cover product. This is primarily for tracking incident with residents. We have knowledge base, which is searchable FAQ. And once again, any kind of ticket tracking, residents can open a support ticket through our portal, and we can track all of the correspondence that went with the resident about that work order, about that support ticket directly in here. And we also do package notification for high-rise buildings. So that's our client support product. And then the resident engagement. I would say for VMS clients, this is also, communication and resident engagement is probably the top 2 things people come to us for, and then the operations. The resident portals, we've been, doing portals from the day one. We do online payments, we track community and unit documents, so the residents can log in and update their unit documents directly in Pilera. So you have documents repository for their community in one place. We have community directory feature. We have a discussion board feature for resident engagement. That's basically where residents can go in and open up a discussion. It's almost like many, when I started Pilera, the management companies or the boards didn't want me to build this because they thought that it would turn into complaining sessions for the residents. However, within the last 5-10 years, people are doing that anyway on Facebook or Nextdoor. So we decided to build a discussion board functionality within Pilera. And what that does, it gives the management oversight as to what the conversations are happening in the community. Because if they don't provide that, it's going to be outside of the scope of management. So at least now they have visibility on what are the issues the residents are talking about or complaining about the most. We have community events calendar. We also offer community websites, which is integrated with our portal. So a lot of times clients will come to us, they already have a website. So people are used to having a website, and the website is primarily for marketing presence or with photos, or somebody's who's looking to move into community, they can see what the community looks like. So website allows them to do that. The portal allows them to basically do more stuff as far as the tracking of the pets. They can update their car information, their alternate contacts, alternate addresses, insurance tracking. So the resident engagement product is useful for that. And then somebody just asked a question about, yes, I will get to that in about 5 minutes. So let me close that off here. So Pilera VMS integration. So this is how we integrate with VMS. So we have a 2-way synchronization with VMS. So we can support phone, email. We can support add attorney type of a indicator for the resident. We can bring over your tenants, their occupants and board member information. We synchronize data every 24 hours. And as Brad mentioned, you can actually do an ad hoc sync in the middle of the day if you needed to for a particular community. Residents have access to real-time balance and ledger. We provide an online payment through pretty much a bank of your choice or through Payleys. And then we'll honor the ad attorney indicator for VMS residents within VMS. Before we move into why Pilera, Frank or Sumedha, have you guys got any other questions that I should address?
Nope, the panel is clear right now.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to give you like a couple of value propositions as to why people use Pilera and why they come to us. And we do an annual survey. Like Brad mentioned, we are very active with our users. We reach out to them periodically to make sure that everything's working okay and what else we can do to improve their lives. And we do an annual survey, and this is the response we got during our last survey. People are getting back 1 day per week based on 52 weeks for a year per staff. This is the feedback that we've gotten from our clients when we ask them how much time you're saving based on the features that we offer. They can also automate the communication, like Brad mentioned. We make it very, very easy and convenient for you to send messages via email, text. When you text somebody, they're opt to read that text 30 times quicker and faster more than an email, because people are getting so many emails. They're preferring to get the message via text now. And we offer language translation for text messages as well for over 100 different languages. We improve resident satisfaction. So when we asked our clients, people were basically, this is the general feedback that we got. It was easy to use portals and websites for one stop for the residents, like Brad was talking about, as well as for the T-Square experience. We get awesome kudos over support. I'm really proud of that. I was just with a client early this morning, and they were talking about how great our support was. My support team was working with them. And then when Brad mentioned, he checked with some of the other people in their office, and they had no complaints, because we really try to be mindful, make it easy for them to use, that hopefully they don't even have to reach out to us for any questions or support. This is live on Capterra website. If you go to Capterra website and if you put in Pilera software, this is as of yesterday, I believe, or a couple of days ago when we put the presentation together. These are based on the 27 reviews Capterra has: ease of use, customer service, value for the money. On the left column, this is how people, what they think of Pilera, not just, that's nice to see. As I mentioned earlier, we allow you to pick and choose the products that you want. The communication product, this allows you to reach residents via text, email, phone call, the language translation. I think I already covered some of these things. But one thing I want to mention is fault protection. So because we specialize in communication, we have built fault tolerance into our system. What that means is, let's just say you send a message out, and for whatever reason, internet was down between our systems and the receivers. We actually monitor that, and we will make sure that message goes through. So that's something that's, it took us years to build. That's something that we specialize about doing with regards to communication. In operations, I'm kind of just flying through these because I already covered some of these things. Communication, one of the nice things about our operations that people really appreciate is the communication tracking. We are very, very communication-centric company. Everything we do, we make it easy for our staff, the management staff or the board members to communicate with the residents, and the residents communicate back with the management. And the tracking of it is kind of built in the DNA of Pilera, which is what really makes it easier for the staff to, even the T-Square. I remember I was there 2-3 years ago, and Teresa, who was the director of operations at that time, she was talking about they had a lot of staff turnover, especially related to COVID. And having Pilera just made her life easier because she was able to see everything that was communicated with all the residents by the previous managers. The audit log, board member visibility as well. So depending on your usage, you can actually share tickets with the board members so they can see what's going on. And we have very robust reports for the board members. For client support team, we do a lot of support incident tracking. Our ticketing system is just as strong as our communication platform. So we have a lot of tickets related to work orders, rule violations. They're all basically built on the same ticketing platform. And one of the things that really separates for the client support is searchable FAQ. This is sort of almost like an AI built in for the managers, where they can just type in a couple of keywords and we will show them the response that matches what they're searching for. So instead of having a binder of information for each of the communities, they can quickly look up answers in our knowledge-based system. The resident engagement, we already talked about that. So we are mobile friendly, so residents can also look up information on their cell phone. And as I mentioned, we have a special offering for RFP. This is a new product, so we are basically making it free until end of this year. So if you want to just have, if you manage a lot of RFPs, we have a very strong, robust solution to help you track RFPs and also make that available to the board members for their visibility and transparency, like Brad mentioned. So please reach out to us if you do a lot of RFPs. And we are going to make these slides available to the to the webinar participants. So, there's a link in there for more details. Our support and onboarding, Brad kind of touched upon this a little bit earlier during his talk about Pilera. We are very seamless. Mike and Frank can vouch for this as well. They hardly get any support tickets related to a synchronization or any issues related to Pilera. We have very strong, fast, reliable phone and email support. We are actually more proactive about reaching out to our clients and make sure that they don't even have any issues before they reach out to us. That means that helps with the onboarding and support. This is another client, one of the VMS clients, and like Brad said, like if you want to know how to do his job without Pilera, CA pretty much had the same thing to say. They also use Pilera for work orders, vendors, board members. And we're going to provide the slides as well as resources. So you'll have this, as we have a couple of ebooks that can help you what to do for emergency preparedness, learning more about Pilera. We do 14-day free trials as well. So if you want to just see how it works for your company, you can do that. With VMS makes it very easy to set up and get access to get Pilera up and running for your company. With that, I'm going to switch over to the demo portion of the webinar. Any particular questions I should answer right now, Sumedha or Frank, before I get into the demo?
Well, we have a request to want to see what the product looks like. I mean, do you have any slides of the user interface?
Yes, I'm actually planning to walk through the product right now.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to change my sharing my screen. So to my browser window. Can you guys see my browser now, Frank?
Yep, you're live.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I figured next 15-20 minutes, I'll just cover the demo as far as like what it looks like and such. So there are two sides to Pilera. What I'm showing you right now is the manager side. So this is your side, primarily the managers or the board members have similar look, and there's a dashboard when you log into Pilera. So this dashboard basically shows you, this app has to be a demo community with every product that we sell. So you can see how many open architecture change requests and all the stuff that we support in our operations, how many of those tickets are assigned to you. So this is how many in the community sells, how many are assigned to you. And if you want to create a new one, you can just create a new one directly as you're talking with the resident on the phone. These also recent announcements that were sent out through our system and how many people were sent out to. So let me just walk you through some of these screens here. On the occupant screen, before on the dashboard, just one quick thing. This is the information about this community, but if you want to see all of your architecture requests or discussion board topics or anything across the entire portfolio, so all of the communities that you manage, you can see all of that in one place as well. So you can go back and forth between the community view or the entire portfolio view for your company. On the occupants page, this is basically showing me 36 residents for this community. This is a sample demo community. We custom brand Pilera at no charge. So we can put your company logo on here and the community logo if you have that. Each community has a notice board. If you want to utilize it, you don't have to. If there's something going on urgently that you want to let the managers or the other people in the community know about it, you can post it directly here. Because we do synchronization with VMS, we will automatically bring over your residents from VMS into Pilera. And actually, I'm going to quickly just switch over to one of my VMS integrated test communities. So if I go in here, I just want to show you what the VMS integration looks like. I think I was looking in here earlier, and there was a resident, Jen. So for each resident, we can bring that over. We'll even tell you the last time the data was synchronized with VMS for this community. You can do update from VMS. And for Jen, in the financials tab, I'm going to be able to see the real-time balance for her from VMS, as well as the transaction history, as well as recurring charges from her VMS account. And this is a real-time pool. So this is at this moment in time, this is what our current balance is. And so you can log in and look at it, or I, as a manager of that community, if I'm on the phone with her, without having to log into VMS, so they can do that. Now I'm going to switch back to my other demo community. So this demo community is not integrated with VMS, so that's why I had to switch over to the other one. So on here, I can see who the tenants, who the owners, who the board members. I can see what their communication preference method is. So this person is going to get an email, phone, text, even for what language. So this person prefers postal. If I had a bad email address in our system, we'll even tell you about that, a visual indicator. So once a month, we will send you a report of every bad email address you have in the system in VMS as well, because we get our data from VMS. So you can get that corrected, because we had a hard time communicating with that person. Basically, that's what we're trying to tell you here. So for each of the residents, I can look up their personal information, or when they log in, they can do the same. So I know VMS tracks some information, but we actually track a lot more. So I can pretend to be this resident. If they call in for support, I can see exactly what they see when they log in. I can see the unit account, every message that I was sent to them since the day they moved into the association, all their car information, addresses, any support tickets related to that person, incident logs, their pets, their unit documents. This is how our clients are using Pilera to track this type of information for each of the residents. And we make it easy and convenient for them to be able to look up this type of information. So I mentioned community calendars. So each of the community can also have a calendar as well. You can create different calendars for that community if you needed to. I mentioned discussion board. This is something we rolled out about 3-4 months back. So this is where they can go in and create a thread of any kind of issues that they want to talk about, and the other residents can respond to this. People can communicate about that as well. So it's basically an ongoing conversation, discussion board. Community directory, this is an option where the residents can choose to opt in. So I'll show you the resident view while I'm in here, and then we'll switch back to the management. So if I want to see what Jeff sees in our system, when I click on his name, I can do pretend as. Excuse me. So this is what Jeff would see when he logs into the system. He can make a payment, office hours. If this was integrated with VMS, we would show them the balance here as well on the dashboard. He can create a work order or something directly on here. He can contact management and open a support ticket directly from the dashboard. In your information page, basically, he can go in here and update this contact information if he needed to, and we would update this in VMS automatically on the back end. And he can say how he wishes to be communicated with, email, phone, or text, and what language he wants to get their messages in. The manager can do this on behalf of the resident as well. So, we support over 100 different languages, like I mentioned. In the messages tab, I'm going to see every message that's been sent to Jeff, as well as any messages he responded to. On the contacts, he can update his alternate contacts. His car information is up here, addresses, lease, unit documents as well. So this is a type of information each of the residents can manage and maintain in Pilera. If there's a package waiting for Jeff, he could be notified about that as well. There's a package waiting for him to be picked up. In the unit tab, one of the key things we also offer that kind of differentiates from our accounting partners is that you can go in and add an account and other occupants. He can go in and add his spouse information, because if Jeff owns a unit, he might be in VMS, but his wife or his kids or his tenants, we give them access to Pilera as well. So he can say, here's my son's information. I want to make sure my son gets notified about the clubhouse closing earlier, or, snow plowing if he happens to live in, colder temperature, snowy area. And he can also say how the son should be communicated with, as well as any tenant information. So we kind of take the tenant management out of the management, so they don't have to worry about managers, or don't have to worry about the tenants. He can go in and open a work order. So we support 2 types of work orders. We have a unit level work order, and then we have a community common area work order. And I'll go through that in a minute. But this is everything related to his unit. He can go in subject, description, category. you can customize the categories at the community level. So one community might have a pool, another community might not have a pool, or elevator or any kind of thing. So you can customize this per your community, and then he can open an attached file. The nice thing about our tracking system is once that work order is created by that resident, and when the manager gets it in their Outlook, they can respond in their Outlook, and all the communication that's going back and forth for that particular work order will automatically be logged and tracked, so the management can go back in time. And I'll show you an example of that on the manager side. So these are the different types of tickets. I'm not going to go through every single ticket, mainly for the time, but we support work orders, is architecture change request, incident logs. We track people lease information for their units, their pets, their unit documents. In the community tab, we have community calendars, discussion board. This is where they can opt in to share their contact information with other residents in the community. Common area work order, the document library. We have very robust document library where they can go in on the manager side. There are different types of permissions for the board member permissions, whether it's a residence, tenant permission, as to who should be able to view that document. ACRs for that unit. Marketplace is another thing where they can post an item for sale. And the other key thing is community websites. So these are some live samples of our clients who uses our websites product along with the portal. So we provide a link to the portal, but as you can see, the website provides, just more friendlier, I guess, where they can go in and share information about the yacht club for that community. Any kind of information that this is a lot of content or pictures that they want to share. And the nice thing about our website product is integrated with the portal. So anytime you update documents in the portal, it automatically shows up on the website without you doing anything. As well as they can see their balance on the website, they can make payment on the website. So there are some pieces of portal, critical pieces that are integrated with both, so that they don't have to worry about logging in and out. And between the two, they can do everything to the website as well. So these are some sample websites. And our websites, people do tell us it's extremely easy to use. We have a handful of, I think, 10, 12 videos that explains everything you see here. They pretty much have done themselves, especially after they use the website product for a little bit and they're kind of used to it. We can help them get going, but you can change the logos, the colors, the photos, and everything by yourselves if you needed to, without having to pay somebody else to maintain the website. So I'm going to switch back to the manager view so that they can contact. This is a knowledge base as part of our customer support product. This is where they can go in and say, "Hey, I got a guest coming. Are they allowed to bring pets or not?" And then they can just type in a couple of keywords and we will show you the responses. The nice thing about this, the way knowledge base works, and some of our clients, they use it as a client service team for internal to management company. So each of the management, the client service team person can log in. And when you create an article, you have a choice. Do you want to share that with the residents or do you want to keep it internal to the management company as well? So the residents are only privy to some non-confidential or non-important information, more like day-to-day operations type information that the management company cares about. That would only be accessible by the managers or the office staff or the board members. So that's our resident portal. I'm going to switch back to the management side, and I'll show you how the communication feature works, our work order tracking system works. Sumedha or Frank, anything I need to address? Just taking a break before I kind of keep moving.
Just one question, wondering if documents are pulled and synced from VMS.
Not at the moment. I know this is something that Mike and I keep going back and forth on. For the longest time, we did not have access to them, but I know that and Frank, I don't know if Mike is still on the call, but I believe that is available to Pilera now if we wanted to add that functionality, correct, Frank? Or do you know anything about that, or if Mike is still here?
I'm going to have to let Mike answer that if he's, see him on the panel, but he might not be, he might be on another call.
Okay. To answer your question, we do not have that right now today out of the box. However, if it is something very important to you, I know that VMS has made that available to us. as far as we just haven't coded it to make it available to our clients yet. Okay, so Frank, if there's no other questions, I want to keep moving. How's my pace, Frank? Am I speaking clearly enough? Because I know English is not my
Yep,
first language,
you're
so
doing fine.
sometimes I speak too
Loud and
fast.
clear.
Okay, cool.
No, you're doing fine.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so on the communications, I'm going to just focus on our products now. Let's just give you a little bit preview as to how they work. And as I mentioned, I'm just going to touch upon highlights, and then if you want more details, please schedule a demo with us, sales@pilera.com, or you can reach out to we are going to make the slides available to you as well. So on the message center. So this is where you can see every message that's been ever communicated or sent out to the community. This is a fake community, so there's not a lot of real data here, to be honest. But here's a message that was sent about road being closed. So this was sent to 17 people. And when I click on that 17 people detail, we will show you exactly what was sent, communicated, if it's email that residents received is much nicer looking emails. It's a templated email with your logo, your colors. People tell us that it's very professional looking email. And then we'll even show you if the email was delivered, if the email bounced, if the email was open. If a resident replies to that email, we'll even show you the resident's reply to that email. And so once again, we're tracking all that communication for you, all the ongoing back and forth between the managers and the residents in one place. And as far as I know, Pilera is the only one that does it this way and makes it very simple and seamless, where the residents don't even have to log into Pilera to answer. They can just answer from their Gmail, their Yahoo. Same thing with our work orders, with the vendors. When they get a work order email, they can be in a truck on their cell phone. They can respond to that email to the manager, and we'll automatically log and track it. And the manager will still get that email in their Outlook as well. So Pilera is just in the middle, just tracking all the communication. So up until now, recently, Pilera used to be for outbound communication about email, phone call, texting, the language translation, all that stuff. Recently, about 6-8 months ago, so we shifted, maybe 8 months ago. Now we track all the incoming emails as well. So I look the responses that got generated from the emails that were sent by Pilera. So basically, any kind of announcement responses, any kind of work order responses that the vendor responded to, or the resident responded to, or the ACR emails, or rule violation ticket, whatever, all that communication is funneled and centralized in one place. You can see it in the tickets themselves. You can see it in the message center as well. You can see it at the resident records as well, all the stuff that was communicated. But this is sort of like a focal point for the all those emails coming back in one place. And how do you send out the announcement? Basically, you would send an announcement. You can select, how is a standard message, email, or emergency. You want to send a message to the entire community or just one location, one street, one building. We will automatically decipher this based on your VMS data. So there's no configuration and nothing special you have to do based on how your VMS data for the residents is. We will automatically figure this out for you. You can set up your own distribution groups as well. So if, like I mentioned, east side of the community, communities with special like beach facing units or something, or we have some communities that are on big lakes in in Washington State where they have to notify everybody about bad weather or whatever. So they can reach out to only those unit owners in one very easily. And once again, what we do is we once it's set up, when you have a turnover, when somebody leaves the company or somebody's on vacation or the next person is covering for that person, there is no knowledge transfer needs to happen because everything is automatically set up and configured. As long as they know how to use Pilera for one community, they can use it for all the communities. And as you can see, it's pretty easy and simple to use. We support templated messages. If you got if you think you're going to use this message again and over every week, every month, you can create a template of that message. You can say how this is going to be sent: email, text, phone, physical letters. When you do physical letters, we allow you to upload your own logos, and it's a professional looking letter like you would expect from your company. We will automatically fold it, mail it out for you as well. So if you got thousands of letters, makes it very easy and convenient. You can send yourself a test email, so you can see how the email is going to look before you send it. You can send a message now. You can schedule it ahead of time. So if you know something's happening next week, like a board meeting's happening on Friday, you can remind everybody on Thursday night saying, don't forget the board meeting's happening. One of the biggest usage for this is water shutoff notices for condominium types of communities. We get a lot of usage for that, or carpet cleaning, or fire alarm testing and such like that. There are just so many usages people that do. Multi-unit community announcement. What this allows you to do is send a message to more than one community at a time. So if you want to send a message just to 10 communities that's going to be impacted by the hurricane, that you can send a message to those communities via email. And you can also send a message just to the board members as well. So if you want to do an announcement for your entire portfolio, just notify all the board members, you can easily do that. And once again, where we differentiate, and VMS actually might have this, I don't know, but when the board members and stuff responds to those emails and stuff, you're going to see the tracking in our messaging box. So that's where we come in. That's where we differentiate from VMS, and we kind of complement what your data you have in VMS. We kind of take it to the next level, so to speak. Send message allows you to send message only to a certain residence. So if it's not a board, if it's not a building, whatever, you can send a message only to a handful of the owners if you wanted to. And welcome messages is something, basically whenever somebody new moves in, we will automatically send them a welcome message through our system, and you can customize the welcome message per community if you wanted to. That just introduces Pilera to them. It allows them to set up their own username and password. For the username, they don't have to use VMS account number or anything. They can just use their own, whatever username they want, actually. And then they can put it there. So that's how the welcome email works. Frank or Sumedh, any other questions before I continue on the ticketing portions?
Nope, we're all caught up.
Okay. So let me just pull up, give me 1 second. Oops. I'm going to pull up, I want to make sure that I cover all the products that we talked about. This is a reminder to everybody, in case there were some people who joined late on the call. Okay, my system's not responding. Hello, okay. Sorry, took a long time. Okay, so yeah, so these are basically for people who might have joined late. So we kind of covered communication. I'm just going to fly through the operations side and client support. We did talk about the resident engagement, where I covered the resident logging in and what kind of stuff that they have access to. We talked about the community websites as well, for those who might have joined a little bit late. Here's a sample. And I'm just going to move over to the operations and client support next, the next 10 minutes that we have. So for the operations side of things, as I mentioned, we have a very strong, robust ticketing system. And a lot of our VMS clients use this for work order tracking. So we support 2 types of work orders: unit level work order or common area work order. If you happen to be talking with a resident, let's just say it's a petty, you can just quickly search for the resident by unit number, by first name, last name. And as I'm talking with them, I can create what we call quick add ticket. I can see what they see. I can see everything about their unit. So this basically, the unit detail view shows everybody who lives in that unit, any types of tickets they created for their units in the past, any lease information if that unit is rented, or the car information, or basically everything related to that unit would be in one place. But the key thing that I wanted to show you is you can quickly create work order tickets as well. I can create common area work order ticket, incident log, if it's something related to that incident. Where our ticketing system comes in, you can call it a ticket. It's almost like a task. So we have task management built into Pilera. We even have a task management for board members. So if there is after every board meeting, there's usually some action items that come out of the meeting, you can log in and create a task as to who's going to do what. And the nice thing about our task management is that when a board responds to that particular request, or they got a question, it's automatically logged and tracked in our system. So when a new set of board members come along a year or 2 later, they can see which boards approved what or who made that decision. So we are all about tracking, we are all about communication and making it easier for you to find this type of information. And that's one of the key things that we do. So if I wanted to do unit work order, subject description, date, due, category, subcategory, so on the resident side, they don't have access to some of these things. but I can go in and I can say, should the owner be able to view this or hide it from the owner, or they can comment on this. I can notify other managers in my office that this work order was created for this unit. I can assign this work order to myself to follow up on it later. I can assign it to one of my team members. If you got a maintenance team as part of the company, you can assign to one of those people. They're going to get an email notification and they can respond to it. And whatever they respond will automatically be logged and tracked in the Pilera as well. You can assign it to an outside vendor, and that you can even say which person at that vendor is gonna get that email notification. And when they respond to this ticket saying, we'll be there next week to take care of this, we will automatically append that message to that ticket as well. You can attach files for the work order, and once the job is completed, you can even track done by hours, labor cost, material costs as well. And then we have very strong, nice looking reports for our work order system for your board meeting reviews. So, this is one of the things that people really like about Pilera as well. And then you have analytics reports, and let me pull up a sample of that. So maybe that, Frank, any questions while I do that? Any new questions that will come up?
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Go. Okay, that's all right. I was just gonna start typing answers, but just so everyone can hear the questions. One is, do work orders and tasks sync with VMS?
Not at the moment. Yeah, not at the moment. I mean, to be honest, when we have looked into it, it's sort of like, how do we do data mapping? That's one of the biggest things, because we track so many different things. And but I think that has come up with Mike Ronaldo as well. If we can, but right now it's not.
And the other one was, and you mentioned this with the payment systems, but the question was, can payments be made directly through the Pilera system as opposed
Yes.
to through our websites?
Yes.
That you already kind of answered that earlier. So, and that's it right now.
Okay, cool. Sumida, I'm actually having a hard time finding the, okay, yeah. So this is what I wanted to pull up. So with our ticketing system and our operations, a lot of our clients will can generate reports, like how many tickets are assigned to particular employees. As a matter of fact, we actually have that now added to Pilera ticket charts. So while you're in the system, you can see how many tickets were created, how many tickets were closed, ticket priorities. And you can do this not only at the community level, you can do it at the entire portfolio level. So I was showing this earlier to one of my clients, they use our work order system very heavily and they loved it because now they have a visibility on what types of tickets have been created by the entire portfolio in a matter of a few seconds. How many tickets are open, approved, in progress, how many tickets are assigned to a particular vendor. So it's all easily available in a matter of a few seconds for the entire portfolio. I forget how many tickets that they had, but I know that one of our clients, they have something like 3,000 tickets. I mean, they're the largest management company in Connecticut, and they use our work order system for track all their work orders. But for every work order that's in their system, once a resident opens it, you can go in here. And by the way, this is for all our ticketing, all our ticket types. So by just covering this work order ticket, I'm going to be talking about, this is how our rule violations works. This is how our ACRs work. This is how our support ticket works, incident logging works. You can go in and update the status of that ticket, change the status to new, acknowledge. You can reassign the ticket to somebody else within the company. A lot of times we have assistant managers and managers. We have receptionists who kind of infill it, and then they'll reassign it back to the manager saying, hey, can you get back to this person? You can know one of the key things that differentiates us again is communication. We are very, very heavy communication centric. So you want to make sure that who should be notified about this. So if you can notify the residents automatically through our system, you can notify the managers in the system. You can attach new files to this ticket. You can create a quick add comments. So if it's something that you always respond to, same response, like we will discuss this in the next board meeting, you can actually automatically append that, without even typing in those comments. And let me switch over to one of the in progress tickets, so you can see what's going on here. So there's a comment, so we will be there Monday. So whenever a vendor responds, we will automatically log that comments directly in here as well. So when the responses, you'll see here all the events that occurred. So when was the email was sent out, everything that happened to that ticket is automatically logged and tracked. So every time somebody touches something, somebody does something, and we do this for audit purposes, so transparency purposes. If you want to go back 6 months later or a year later saying, hey, what did we do about their work order? Or if you get into a tussle with the vendor for the payments or whatever, for the RFP process, we did the same thing. And the nice thing about a ticketing system is you can actually say, who should have visibility into this. So depending on what type of ticket it is, so for example, it's a task management. So this is the ticketing system we built for between board members and the managers. You can go in here, and when you go to assign a ticket, you can say, board members. So when you board members' permission to do this, same thing with the residents. If they have the ability to view this ticket, they can comment on it. So we really put a lot of thought and time into making this as robust as possible to basically meet our clients' needs. You can even put comments for a ticket type. So when the resident goes to open an ACR type of ticket, you can provide them with instructions saying, this is the ACR process for your community. So once again, we try to eliminate steps, contacts by the residents to the management about, what they need to do, or we try to help you eliminate phone calls. If that's one thing I would say is with our operations, we want to make sure that residents are informed and they know what to do. And same thing with the staff as well. I think I've pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover and keep it within an hour, Frank. I can go into, I can talk for another hour about Pilera. But anything, Frank, that you think I should cover for VMS clients that you think they might be interested in knowing? Sumedha, did you wanted to make sure that I covered anything?
I think you've
I'm
covered.
here. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think you covered everything.
I think I feel like I covered too many things in a half hour. Frank, what are your thoughts?
No, I was going to say I just had a mute problem, but if you wanted to go over anything in more depth, like a feature that we don't do, like the robocalling, but yeah, you really did. You touched on that as well. So I think you've covered all the bases pretty well. Yeah,
and this is more like to give you a preview and a taste of Pilera. And then we definitely can, we do one-on-one demos all the time. So anytime, you want to schedule, just go to pilera.com. You can reach out to there's a, book a demo page, or you can just reach out to sales@pilera.com, Pilera as well. And, we can get more detail if there's any specific questions that you want to make sure that we talk about for your community or for your management company.
And again, for everybody, might have missed it at the beginning, we will compile this video and be posting it along with the PowerPoint presentation to the VMS Help panel. That'll be up in another day or so. And there's also a link as well on our partners page for our website. You can link over to Pilera if you want to get more information or schedule a demo with them. But I think that's about it. If you have anything else you'd like to add, Ashish, before we close it out?
No, basically all I would say is we really try to complement your VMS experience. We've been integrated with VMS for 10 years. So for those who might have joined late, we had Brad from one of our clients talk about how, how a synchronization process works. I know that Frank and Mike has been pretty happy with the clients that they recommended to look into Pilera or they referred our way. We really try to take care of our clients, and we have very strong review on Capterra as well as far as our support. So if you can check those out as well on Capterra website.
Great.
I think somebody had a question. Somebody had a question. Is that right? Let's see.
No, just a request to get a call back. So that's fine.
Okay, got it. Cool. All right.
I'll take care of that.
Yeah, one last thing is if you go to Capterra website, you can actually find out more about what people think directly on their website, Capterra. And I'll just leave you with this: ease of use, customer service, value for the money. So this is not just few people, like 27 people have taken the time to talk about how great they're finding our product. Okay, Frank, I'll wrap it up with that.
All right, great. Well, Ashish, Sumedha, thank you for the presentation, for your time, and thank you everybody out there that stayed with us. And just feel free to reach out to Ashish's group or to us if you have any questions. And with that, we will close it out for the day. Thanks
Great.
again. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Frank,
you.
for organizing this. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
No problem.
Thank you, everyone.